What's up? Welcome. Now that the dust from hardcore awards and try not to headbang challenges is a little bit more settled, I can calmly sit down here and talk to you about my favorite albums of the year. I initially set out to create like a top 10 like any other year, but I quickly realized that it's not enough to encapsulate all of my favorite albums this year. So I decided to go with a nice cheeky 22 albums for 2022. It's gonna be a long one, so sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. But we're gonna start with number 22. Chelsea Grin, Suffer in Hell. One of the best deathcore albums this year. It is certainly one of the most heavy ones out there. And it's a first parter to a two-parter experience by Chelsea Grin. And it does an amazing job of showcasing what this has to offer before we jump into the sequel next year. I'm super excited to see how else they can bring in the breakdowns and riffs into the mix. How else can they create a more versatile deathcore sound, but this album was very saucy and very cool and good. So Chelsea Grin, Suffer in Hell is my pick for number 22. Dayseeker, Dark Sun. Dayseeker's last album was focusing on a journey of loss and dealing with loss and acceptance of it. And it's a beautiful album with a beautiful storytelling that is a perfect story from start to finish. It may be not as heavy or as punchy as a lot of other albums on this list, but what I really like about it is its cohesiveness and its overarching theme that connects all the songs together. It gets a little bit repetitive for me, that's why it's kind of lower on the list. However, I do still think it's one of the better albums this year, and I've enjoyed it quite a lot. Amazing instrumentals, incredible vocals, perfect mix. This is Dayseeker, Dark Sun at number 21.
How do you feel beside when I don't sleep?
Norma Jean, Death Rattle, Sing For Me. Norma. Jean, a fantastic follow-up to All Hail, one of my favorite Norma albums of all time. It is, if not as good, it's just as fun and just as entertaining, and it has that unfiltered, contagious energy that Norma Jean always brings to the table. Breakdowns and headbangs for days. And that's why I put this album at my number 20 in my 22 list. Consumer Obsession. What an incredible debut, first of all. How better of a debut could you possibly imagine than Consumer's Obsession? It is from start to finish a package of breakdowns, of heaviness, of some melody, actually a lot more melody than you'd expect, judging from the singles especially. I think this band is gonna go places, especially if this is their first full-length work, so keep your eyes peeled for Consumer. They are at my number 19 in the top 22. Fit for a King. The hell we create. Fit for a King genuinely surprised me this year with this one. It's a very good album. From start to finish, it has a nice pacing. All of the songs in it are pretty good hits. Very, very few misses for me. I find myself coming back to it a lot more than I initially thought I would, so that is amazing, and I'm glad that I liked this album the way I did. Fit for a King at number 18.
Will you stay?
Counterparts, a eulogy for those still here. Counterparts are always destroying in two ways, emotionally and physically. This album is a perfect follow-up to Nothing Left to Love in that it's got that melodic / emotional side of it, but a lot more prevalent is the heavy, the punching side, which is really, really cool. Lyrical work is top-notch. Face-shattering breakdowns are still here, of course, and come on, it's Counterparts. It's Counterparts. Go listen to Counterparts. Number 17. Spite, Dedication to Flesh. Spite is a heavy one. Spite's album this year is one of the best gymcore albums. Breakdowns and grooves on this one are simply unmatched. Thank you for bullying me into checking them out because I would have missed this album otherwise, and I'm glad I didn't because I actually found a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's just a ton of fun. So number 16, Spite, Dedication to Flesh. Boundaries, Burying Brightness. Boundaries with an incredible entry this year. It's an incredible follow-up in every single way to Your Receding Warmth, and I think in many ways it is just one step ahead of that album. I am seriously impressed with how much more this band has brought to the table and how much more this band has showcased with this album. It's heavy as shit, yes. It's still got that emotional lyrical content to it. Yes, and it's just in all intents and purposes one of the best hardcore records this year. Burying Brightness is great, and I love it, and that's why it's in my 15th spot for top 22. And it should be in your top whatever album of the year because it's great. Go listen to Boundaries. Zealand Ardor with a self-titled Zealand Ardor. This one caught me off guard. I did not expect to listen to black metal fusion with soul and like church music. It's incredible. It's a mix of all these different puzzles fitted together. This album has some weird songs, I gotta say. Some songs that I rarely come back to and some songs that I come back to almost every day. So it's a mixed bag, but because of how much I was actually impressed by the overall idea and the concept of the sound of it, it's pretty high up on my list at number 14. Go check out Zealand Ardor. It fucking slaps.
Death to the holy. Death to the holy.
Northlane, Obsidian. Wow, what a comeback story this year in my books. I originally didn't like this album almost at all. The only really songs that I enjoyed from it were the singles, and it's mostly still the case. I think the singles are one of the better songs on the album. I feel like the non-singles have grown on me significantly, especially those songs that I initially really hated, like Abomination and Is This a Test? I still think that this is one of the weaker Northlane albums. That's why it's so far down the list for a Northlane album. But it's definitely one that features the most genre bending and definitely the one that features the most kind of brave decisions in music writing, so I respect them for that, but it's at number 13 for now. Fit for an Autopsy. Oh, what the future holds. Hands down, probably the best deathcore record of the year, my favorite at least. It's just incredible how people forgot about this one just because it came out in the beginning of the year, but it is such a great experience from start to finish. Some insane riffage, some insane guitar tones, and of course the vocals, one of the best vocalists in deathcore. Come on. While it also kind of lost me throughout the year, you know, I just kind of forgot about it for a while. Coming back to it is a pleasure, and do yourself a favor, come back to it if you haven't listened to it for a while. It's really good.
All of death is to return.
Bleed from Within, Shrine. While I do think Fracture is still stronger in some aspects, I feel like these two are very, very neck and neck as to what I like more. Honestly, I really like them both at the same kind of level. I think they both do a great job of just being a fucking fun, energetic metalcore albums. And this one specifically features some of the best Bleed from Within songs ever written, so that's all something. Grandiose, epic, dramatic metalcore is what you will find in Shrine. So yeah, go find it. Go listen to Shrine. It's incredible. Number 11 on my list. Cracking the top 10 is Ocean's 8 Alaska with Disparity. An album that truly shocked me. This has a lot of breakdowns in it, like a lot, and a lot of different variety of those breakdowns, and just variety overall. It works so well, and it just flows so well. The production on this is mwah, 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 mwah. Disparity is top notch. One of the better albums of the year, and I love coming back to songs from this. So, yeah, number 10 on my list, Ocean's 8 Alaska Disparity. Avoid Cult Mentality. I've been avoiding this album for a while, and it's a shame that I have because it's so fun. Cult Mentality is this burst of nostalgic energy, and it leaves you with just one single criticism. I need more. This album and this band are a treasure, so go check them out if you still haven't done so already. But avoid Cult Mentality at my number 9 spot. Aviana Corporation. Not a lot of people would think of this one when they think, best albums of the year, because again, most of this album was out by the time the release date came around. But if you move away from that thought for a second, and treat this as an album from start to finish, it is simply one of the best things in modern metalcore that you can possibly listen to. Like, seriously, these songs are there is no filler. All of them are incredible. And I listen, I'm simping hard for Aviana, and you know that. And you know that, and you know there's a reason for it. Is because they are masterful with what they do. The writing is incredible, the vocals are incredible. Goddamn, every song has a music video. These guys are serious. These guys are here to stay, to show us more in the coming years. So I'm excited for the future of Aviana, and Obsession is my song of the year. Corporation at number 8. Yeah. Underoath Voyeurist. This has held up my top spot for albums for a pretty long time, I would say, in the beginning of the year. This album has been very surprising and unique for me, considering I've never was a really big fan of Underoath. Coming into this album more or less blind was a very, very right approach. I loved every track, and I still come back to a lot of these and just realize how unique they sound compared to everything else on the bill. And seeing them live, seeing them play a lot of these new songs live just solidified my love towards Voyeurist. Underoath Voyeurist at my number 7 spot. Yeah, let's move on. Thornhill Heroine. One of the most controversial sound changes at first has grown into something so exciting and sexy, and something that works so well in 2022 for me. This album is everything and more. I did not know I needed this Thornhill. It's incredible, especially once you hear these songs live. It just completely changes the perspective on the whole thing. Like, seriously, go listen to them. Go listen to them. If you have a chance, go listen to them live. It's such a great experience. It fucks. In every way of that word. Hashtag horny for Thorny. And yeah, Thornhill Heroine at my number 6 spot. Bad Omens, The Death of Peace of Mind. Cracking my top 5 as one of the most hype bands of 2022. Like, the growth of Bad Omens is something so impressive and extremely deserved. This band has grown from one of those, oh, this band just copied Sempiternal, this band is just a copycat of Bring Me the Horizon, into something so individual and unique. And if you still think they're a copy of Bring Me the Horizon, get you some new ears. This album is not without problems. It is a little long, and it does have a lot of filler kind of transition tracks and whatnot, but I still really loved a lot of these songs, and I still listen to a lot of these songs, and this album is hanging always around top of my most listened to stuff. It is really punchy. It is really, really well produced, and some of these songs, they really, really are succeeding at that exquisite genre bending, in my opinion. So yeah, The Death of Peace of Mind at my number 5. Let's go.
I said it's enough. I begged and I ran in circles.
Wind Waker Love Language. Wind Waker has dropped one of the coolest and most fun experiences this year with Love Language, and it has a lot of variety too. We go from batshit crazy to serious emotional within just a couple of songs. And I'm extremely excited for the future of this band. It seems like one of those bands that has a very nice direction, it has a very nice foundation, and I wish them all the best in the future. Love Language was one of my favorite albums of the year. It has some of my favorite songs of the year. It sounds bright, it sounds energetic, and it sounds what often is missing from metalcore, fun. So Love Language at my number 4. Congratulations, Wind Waker. Savior, Shine, and Fade. Another Australian band, back to back in my top 5. It's Savior. What a record Shine and Fade is. Heavy breakdowns, emotional lyrics, emotional vocals, disgusting vocals, and incredible guitar work. This album plays with your emotions because it often goes from super heavy to super chill within seconds, and the transitions are always so cool. And the fact that they are able to do so much within just like 9 tracks and 30 minutes is absolutely incredible to me, because this album is one of the shortest albums on this list, but it manages to do so much, and I respect it for it so much. Love this album to death. That's why it's in my top 3. That's why it's one of my favorite albums of the year, and that's why you should check it out if you haven't done so already. Shine and Fade by Savior at my number 3 spot. Banks Arcade, Future Lovers. Okay, this one's actually crazy. It's not your traditional top 10 metalcore album here. This one is trippy, it's relatable, it's emotional, it's youthful, it's fun, it's everything. It is everything. This album is just an incredible journey by Banks Arcade, and it's not for everyone, I admit. Not a lot of you might know what Banks Arcade is, and those of you who will go check out maybe not like necessarily be a huge fans of it, because it is a bit of a different experience. It's not as heavy as some of the other ones on this list. This album has given me so much joy in its lyrics content, and how it pulls on heartstrings with some of the production choices, and the guitars hit hard when they need to, the vocals hit hard when they need to. It is honestly such a creative approach to music writing. It's such a creative journey overall. And I'm surprised that it's from a band that I've never heard about before. It's just top tier. Pay close attention to this band in the near future. I think they are on the verge of blowing up, and I wish them all the best to do so, because they goddamn deserve it. Honestly, this could be my favorite album of the year, but there is one that prevents me from saying that, and you already know what it is. But regardless of that, Banks Arcade Future Lovers, fuck. They fuck. And that's why they had my number 2 spot for album of the year. Number 1. The Devil Wears Prada, Color Decay. Shocker. Prada is number 1. I mean, what did you expect? You've seen this on multiple occasions. I think I've almost word by word said that this is my album of the year on multiple occasions, in my videos, on my streams. It's my most listened to artist. It's your most voted artist for Hardcore Awards 22. I've said a lot about this album already, so I'll try to keep this more or less concise and less repetitive, but this album has a massive sense of direction, delivering some of the most polished and emotionally satisfying tracks that Prada has to offer at this point. It's also got a bit more depressive songs, it's also got a couple of heavier songs. Ultimately, it makes a perfect ending to what I call a sound exploration trilogy by Prada, starting with an incredibly different transit blues, going into a very experimental, raw, and difficult The Act, and then wrapping everything together in this very, very polished, very directional, very big work as Color Decay. It is one of the most complete Prada albums to date. It is very nicely produced. The vocals is specifically a part that plays a big role in color decay. There's a lot more of vocals, there's a lot more of backing vocals. The compositions created by Mike and Jeremy are incredible. Yes, it's pretty simple. Yes, it's not as complicated or complex or different as the act was, which I also really love. You may even say it's generic. You may say whatever you want, but it doesn't take away from how much I personally love this album, how much I put this album on a pedestal. And I honestly think with the amount of me simping for it and the amount of me, you know, constantly talking about it, it deserves it all. It deserves it all. And that makes The Devil Wears Prada Color Decay my favorite album of the year and #1 pick. And here are my favorite moments from it. Well, that's a wrap. I loved music and all of it, and metalcore and deathcore in 2022. It's been a very fun ride. We've got some really cool different albums this year from smaller bands, which you might have noticed that a lot of the picks of mine here are pretty smaller bands. And it's really impossible to pick a perfect top where everybody's going to be satisfied by everything. Because, you know, music is subjective. You may like something completely different than I do, and that's fine. You know, it is what it is. So let me know in the comments what your picks are for the AOTY. But this is me saying goodbye to you in 2022. I've had a strange year. There's been a lot to it. But when it comes to the YouTube channel, I've been having a lot of fun with you guys. And I've achieved so many things this year that I didn't kind of set up for myself in the beginning. So let's hope that 2023 holds a lot more surprising, positive moments for all of us. And I'll say to you hello in 2023 very, very soon. But I'm saying goodbye from me in 2022. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for being a part of hardcore. I cannot be more excited for what's to come. But that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.